Hi Truthers, welcome back to my channel, Nutritious Lives and the Wellbeing Guinea Pig. Today's video is going to be about attachment styles. Now I could talk about attachment styles and I could branch off into all areas, but because I want to keep this video quite short and sweet and to the point, I'm just going to talk about the way that we attach in love. And the way that we attach with these 4 attachment styles really starts in infancy, the way that we attach to our caregivers or the way that they tend to attach to us. And a lot of the time we attach, when we choose a partner, we attach on a very subconscious level because a lot of the time it feels very familiar to us, and we sometimes get this misconstrued with love, and a lot of the time this is why we go through these emotional issues, because we're not really aware of our attachment style, and we certainly don't operate on a conscious level a lot of the time with it. So I'm not going to go into massive detail about the attachment styles, but I will touch on it. And I want to just express how clients that come to Nutritious Lives, this is another facet of what we can potentially work on to identify, this attachment style. And if it's on a sort of, because there's only one attachment style, which is a very positive attachment, and this is where we potentially want to be. However, I'm not demonising any attachment, because as I will explain, I've gone through my area of attachment which wasn't very healthy, so I will explain this. But yeah, we've got the 4 attachment styles. So the first attachment style is secure. The second attachment style is anxious preoccupied. The third is dismissive avoidant, and the 4th is anxious avoidant. Now I'm going to start from the top with the secure. So with secure attachment in love, this is where we want to be with our relationships, our love interests. We want to be secure. We as humans, if you ask yourself this question, we all want to have these healthy relationships, these healthy love relationships, but a lot of us don't know how to go about it. So in infancy, someone who's securely attached, their caregivers would have been very consistent with the way that they showed their love. They would have picked up the baby when the baby was crying. It would have been appropriate. It wouldn't have been for any, it wouldn't have been overly giving love. It wouldn't have been not giving love. It would have been very much in balance with the appropriate way of treating a child and treating a baby. And so this is where we're striving for with the attachments. We all want to be secure. So when clients come to me, because I'm very aware of this, I would work on this subconscious level and identify, these limited beliefs again within love, because we're not, consciously aware of it a lot of the time. So the second one is anxious preoccupied. Now this is, and because I'm so very honest, this was the way that I would attach through love. And I'm not going to go into detail with the reasons why, but I believe that my experience, it wasn't my parents per se, but it was the influence that I was around at the time growing up, which made me erring on the anxious side. So when I would have fallen in love in the early days, or what I perceived as falling in love, it would have been that there was inconsistency with the love. So I would basically chase for love, and and it would feel very comfortable to my mind to be shown that love, but then the love to be taken away, and again create this perpetual cycle of me needing to almost chase love. And I think we can sort of look at it in a way that people who are anxious, preoccupied, tend to feel that they're fixers. So it's a way that they get their needs met by almost chasing after the validation and the love of others, and so it almost gives you that whole feeling. Because I personally, and this is, you know, with people who are anxious, preoccupied, I didn't know, and I wasn't taught properly how to self-soothe as a child. So I, in essence, would look to others to self-soothe me. So you can see where this cycle would fall in. So I would almost, I think, look for people to fix, you know, emotionally broken people, and feel like I can fix them, because I never really took the time to fix myself. Now, in saying that, because I've done a lot of internal work, I am now secure. I attach in a secure way. Sometimes I still have this tendency, because hence doing this as well, you know, I'm all about wanting to help and to help others. So that is still a tendency that I have inside of me. But what I've fixed now, and what I would work with my client, would be really putting that time into self-soothing and thinking about my own needs and putting myself first. So, you know, I've got to be honest, and I always will when I'm doing these films. But we'll go on to, so now you kind of understand with regards to the anxious, preoccupied. Now I want to go on to the dismissive, avoidant. Now, a very similar thing with a dismissive avoidant, but a dismissive avoidant, there as a child, a lot of the time their needs weren't met. So there wouldn't be this inconsistency of meeting the child's need, and most of the time their needs weren't met emotionally, or it would tend, you know, it can be that their needs were met physically, that clothes were provided for, and, you know, food on the table, but the parent, for whatever reason, and I'm not blaming anyone for this, wasn't emotionally available to give that child the love and the nurturing emotionally that it needed. So at a very young age, that child would have learned that their needs by their caregiver was not going to be met. So they, in the difference with the anxious, preoccupied, with that they learned at a very young age to self-soothe. So they tend to then go through life, through adolescence and into adulthood, with the notion of they don't need anybody else. You know, romantically, they are independent. It's quite scary for a dismissive avoidant to feel reliant on another human, because on a subconscious level, a lot of the time I'm not aware of this, that it's a very scary prospect, because when they were children, their parent or their parents or caregivers could not give them that. So, and what you tend to find is dismissive avoidant people really want love, but they don't know how to receive it, because that modelling was never really given to them. So again, it's not the individual's fault, but this is why we have a lot of these issues with, you know, breadcrumbing and stonewalling, and where people can't, you know, these dismissive avoidants can't express their feelings. It was never taught to them how to really express what's going inside, and a lot of the time when they feel that they would like to, it's so hard and it's so alien to them to be able to do it, so they tend to run away from the situation. You do tend to find, and just before I go on to the next one, you do tend to find that dismissive avoidants tend to be go-getters and succeeding with their career, because they don't have these limited beliefs around their career, around their job, so they tend to be more sort of putting all their energy into that side of things and not so much into the closeness of a relationship. So the next one is, not, I've done dismissive avoidant, is anxious avoidant. So anxious avoidant individuals tend to be more, have a mixture really of the dismissive avoidant and the anxious preoccupied. This is the anxious avoidant tend to be less of a population because it's quite unique really, and they tend to not be able to trust people. They want to have relationships, but because their needs weren't met as children, they don't know how. So they have this anxiety towards getting close to an individual, but they also have a dismissive nature also. And you can see how that would be such a conflict. Oh, sorry about my necklace dropping off there. There's such a conflict going on within their brains, and they tend to be the ones that struggle the most with relationships. So now I've identified the four attachment styles, you can see how, and maybe you can identify with one of them, or maybe I mean, you know, as I say, I identify with the anxious preoccupied, but also I'm secure, so I have these tendencies. So you may identify as a couple of these ways of attaching, but as I say, working with Nutritious Lives, we would identify this and we could work on that area with affirmations, with manifestation, and it would be a process of us eventually getting to a stage where you are more secure. So I didn't want to overextend this video, but I wanted to just create another area of our emotional health that we could potentially work on when you work with me. So thank you for listening today, another lovely video, and please like, subscribe and click the little bell icon so when I upload videos they come straight to you. And I hope you have the most amazing day and just have a little think about your attachment style.